Yo, 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 we're gonna dive into magic once again. My name is Jovan, this is Avatar Academy. Welcome to the Principles of Magic. First principle of magic, there's no rules here, I'm making this up, but know thyself. What does that mean? What would that mean? Well, let's dive into the feeling of me. We'll have to use feelings and self-inquiry to actually understand, because we can't use magic from lingo. We have to look at the holistic system. Your body is actually a complete universe. The whole freaking God mind is contained within your body. This is because the nature of reality is holographic, and in advanced states of meditation you can experience entire universe or many universes inside of yourself as this container, as this spaceship, avatar, or whatever you want to call it. Now, we're not going to go into all of that. We're just going to go into the substratum of me. When you say me, there is a feeling of me as a being. So we need to inspect where is this feeling and this voice also when I'm saying me, where is this arising from? So you need to look into the substratum before the feeling me, identity, self, being, before that arises. Okay, what is before that? Now, it feels at the same time like emptiness or fullness. It is very subtle at first. If you are not experiencing this in meditation, it does feel very subtle because we're used to shapes, forms, things, thoughts, content. We're used to consume content, respond to content, be immersed in this reality experience. Now we are going beyond. So you're going to look into yourself. When you say me, you will feel that me arising as a being. The me is just a nomenclature, it's just a word for a feeling that arises when I say me. And then you need to look behind and try to inspect for yourself where the me arises from. Okay, so this sounds just like a non-duality inquiry if you're into non-duality or whatever. Actually, we need to first get into a really tight relationship with that which cannot be named, which is behind the sensation of me. So even me as a being, as a sensation, as I am, arises out of somewhere. Let's say somewhere. So you need to inquire into this and try to feel that. So just go behind the sensation of me, feel into that, and then try to describe it. What does it feel like? Maybe ping a question to it, like, what is this? Who am I beyond this? And then see what comes up. The more you do this pondering, the more you will be in tune with the nature that is beyond any identity, shape, and form, that is beyond space, beyond time and space, or whatever you want to call it. Now, I might give you this as a exercise in like pondering, or I might just go and tell my interpretation, because you might have slightly different interpretation according to your individuality of what is the baseline, what is beyond the rising of self as a sense of self. So, obviously, the sense of self arises out of that which feels like nothing in specific, but then it also feels like it's very full. But then it does not feel like it has space or dimension, but it feels like it's very full. So, if I would to explain this, you will reach a barrier that cannot be interpreted by anything that arises in this game. In this game container, you have space, shapes, and forms, what we call reality or universe. And this universe has its own logic, has its own mind, has its own... So, with mind, with feelings, you can interpret anything that is inside of the space. And all of these identities and forms arise from this. So you're hitting the barrier of understanding. This is the limitation to your understanding. So you need to start to be a little bit creative, abstract, and poetic when you try to understand what this barrier is. Now, another proposition, and then we need to dive into actually the space, the shapes, and the forms, and how to be creative with all of this playground that is presented here in this space-time bubble with this like formation of reality. But apparently, it is interesting to reach the threshold. And when you interface with it, it might feel like shooting heroin, because to me it feels just like the content becomes not interesting and not real anymore, and I just feel like peace or nothingness. At the same time, I feel potential and fullness. And I can then start to channel that and express that in whatever shape and form, sound I'm creating here, but that is not a thing. Now, I could ask you to push even further beyond this substratum from which me arises, and then you might be able to go there and experience yourself in a different container. Now, this would be, here's an analogy. So if you would push even, go even beyond where everything stops, where space and energy stop interacting and playing and creating things as a reality experience, if you would push even further than that, then it would be like let's say you are right now in a screen of a video game and you're Super Mario, and then you come and you like realize, oh, like I'm inside of Nintendo like playground, and I'm this like Mario avatar, but I found the screen. So this is when you're touching the threshold, and then Mario's like, what is behind the screen? So the Mario cannot push through the screen. That is the threshold that is beyond me. You cannot have Mario exit the screen and be like, what's outside? And then he see me playing a video game. Right? If Mario could like push out of the screen, he would see me playing a video game and be like, hey Mario, I'm playing you. Okay, so Mario cannot push out. And Mario's intellect and Mario's feelings and Mario's perception of the world you cannot take it out of the screen, because it's created within the screen, within this Nintendo simulation. So what can come out actually and kind of penetrate that barrier, that screen, is the awareness that is experiencing Mario, because this is the awareness that is being projected, like from, imagine this, from my higher self, awareness is being projected into this avatar, and then from here I'm playing Super Mario on my, what is it called, Nintendo Switch, and then my awareness is being projected into there and it's merging with this Mario character, right? So when I turn off the game, Mario goes to sleep, and I put the Nintendo Switch, and now I'm here. But then if I go to sleep, I go somewhere outside of this screen, I'm somebody else. Now, how can I make Mario in the Super Nintendo understand what is outside? Because he cannot actually peek here. Our awareness is one and the same. Awareness goes outside of the screen. Now it's experiencing me. So I know that I'm Jovan, I'm not Super Mario, and then I'm going outside of this immersion and I'm in a different universe where I know that I'm a different being. And then from there I come into here, and then from here I come into the Nintendo Switch. So how can I explain to Mario, or how can my higher self explain to me about this other world that is beyond this simulation? So let's say if in Nintendo Switch I direct Mario to create, or let's say we're playing Minecraft, because over there it's like a free world, so you can create whatever you want. So I can send, through the stream of consciousness, I can send information to my Minecraft avatar to start building a temple. And then in the temple to start creating a statue. And now in Minecraft, there is a statue of God, and it looks like this guy with like headphones and a beanie, and it's like, I am God from a human realm. And so now in Minecraft, everybody's like, oh, there is this is a being from from heaven. and they put me, and I'm a statue. Right now I am contextualized, or this form that I'm holding in this reality, I go on a computer or video game and I contextualize that form, and now little Minecraft dudes are like praying to this god. I'm like a statue inside of the Minecraft that resembles my appearance and wears this type of clothes. And in the same way, higher beings, or the players of our avatars here, they are creating their appearances in temples all over the world. And some temples, they don't want to talk about specific deities because as just somebody who was playing the game, so that's not like what God is. Okay, so some spiritual traditional religion will say, okay, the awareness, the consciousness is the actual player, and it, like the form is not important, because you can have people actually in the higher universe that look like Teletubbies, that this is their avatar form in the reality that is outside of this screen, and then they channel their avatar here to create a Teletubbies TV show. And so now we're watching Teletubbies and like goofy characters on a TV doing la la po po. They're actually you outside of this game. You have a form. Some of you came from this form. You're Teletubbies. And okay, so in this way, there are then so many screens within screens. Now, to actually be creative in the Super Mario, we only need to understand the rules of that game. To be creative in Minecraft, we need to understand the rules of that game. To be creative in the human game, we just need to know the rules of this game. So first and basic rule of this game is me arises out of the screen. And this is what you need to understand, that when you are doing magic, you are using the screen. And also, screen comes first, and then comes the sense of like me. It's loaded through the screen from my player or your player. It's all one big player having many well, kind of like hosting multiplayer games, so everybody's like logging in. Like you're logging into Minecraft and people all over the world are logging into the same map. And so here on the Earth, we're logging into the same map. We're logging in from all these different universes or dimensions of this universe or higher universe or whatnot. So when we are logged in, what is the rule of the game? First of all, understand, if you want to create magic, you will not be creating from 3D perspective. You will be creating from high perspective, which is the screen perspective. So on the screen, there will be a feeling of me arising, and then will be an empty screen, because you can disregard everything that's already created as forms on the screen, because these are just arrangements of forms in the screen. Even your avatar can be transformed, and all these objects, shapes, everything can be transformed if you put in a new code. Now, there's a different way that you can also interface with this reality. That's when you come into a level or a map that's already loaded, and then let's say I take these notebooks and from there I put them here. So I just, brick and mortar Minecraft way, I'm just building now something. So we were experiencing a lot of these, like moving things around and arranging things, art in every possible shape and form and context. But now we are sort of arranging thought forms in the last, many hundreds of years. We're like writing books and then concepts, images, artworks, TV shows. We're like working on a mental plane more than, we're still working on a physical plane, but that became automated with industrialization. So still you can work, but most people now, train in a gym because they don't need to physically work. You can, but we're mostly working in different spheres. So maybe we're like understanding ourselves, like psyche, emotions, relationships. That's a way that we now experience in the game. Then mental game, we're making computers, we're like creating mind maps and like applications and AI and blah, 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 right? So that. Now there's also like a higher domain, it's like a spiritual or metaphysical, which is not the thoughts that correlate to where I put this notebook, but the thoughts that correlate to metaphysical is like, how is this notebook quantumly appearing here, and can it be quantumly transferred there? So what can I do with manifestation, let's call it manifestation, or quantum shifting? How can I reinterpret the code of reality so that I can actually create within reality by just using code? So this is what we call magic. It's coding the metaphysical. So the number one freaking layer of this is the screen. And this is beyond the sensation of me. When the I am arises, you just look and focus beyond that. Now you are Mario touching the screen. Now the next thing you need to do, you need to take a Super Mario pencil and you need to start to write on the screen. And then wherever you write on the screen, you need to kind of assume a different type of logic, which is non-linear logic. It does not relate to correspondences of objects. See, our language, how we usually talk is like, hey, I am this body and my name is Jovan, and then I had experience of drinking coffee. So it's like object relationship to object. Jovan, this body, actually, when I say Jovan, that's like a person, but I usually mean that this is my individuality representing at this meat suit, and then I'm interfacing with a container of coffee. And so the language usually describes relationship between objects. If you're a coder, you will understand that when you're coding, you're just also describing different relationship between different sets of objects. Maybe not in every type of coding. I'm not a computer coder, so don't take me as an expert on that. But there can be a presumption of what reality is based on your habitual thinking. So that is like, if I'm here and I don't see something as an object in my reality physically, then I interpret that that is not there. But see, if you are Super Mario touching the screen, being like, nothing is there, and everything is there in potential, because the screen can now, reload a different app, a different map, a different level, and you can quantum shift, or you can experience that the world changes around you in a way that has nothing to do with linear thinking. Linear thinking is when you are immersed in the level and you're like, hey, let me get that notebook. But now when you touch the screen, okay, there is no notebook. These are just pixels and they are arranged in a certain kind of formation. But I can create different arrangements just from, writing code on this screen here. And then Nintendo of this reality, which is a console of this reality that puts everything together in shapes and forms, will reinterpret the reality. So perhaps common problem with Super Marios or people, avatars, trying to manifest something using the law of attraction, they're still thinking there is this like object and I'm attracting this object. Now the object is not on the screen of my reality and I want to make it appear on the screen of my reality. And then I'm experiencing either that like this polar bear appeared or it's not coming into my screen. It's not showing up or it's showing up. And then I'm still interpreting the linear or physical appearance of matter. Now, who is manifesting? Is it like the Super Mario trying to imagine the bear and then call in the bear by praying to God? And God is just a statue of me that's like somewhere. It's just like, and then, grant me this, and then, it might actually reach me on a higher level, and I'll be like, all right, let me code this for you, put this like into, so yes, God or higher self or like a deity can like put something into your reality. But if you understand, you don't need to like actually ask of anyone. Your whole identity, me and your avatar, is arising out of the screen. So what you need to do, you need to go and write on the screen. Now, how you go and write on the screen, if you are a linear thinker, you will be confused by what I've said here. Well, you can just open the notebook and imagine. So first interface with that so you can know thyself. What is beyond me? What is beyond the threshold of the identity arising? When you know this screen of potential that doesn't have a shape or a form or space or energy, it is potential, then when you take the notebook, you're just going to connect this quantumly to that which is beyond. So you're going to know that you're now writing not in a notebook, that you're writing source code, that you are creating, that something that then this potential, and you need to inquire to really understand that this is going to work, so you don't use another logic, a logic of trying, of attempting, or something, you need to ponder and ask that threshold that is beyond the sense of I. If I write a formula or a program or letters, sentences, and tell you to emanate them in this sentence, like if I say, because you're talking to basically something that does not have, it has potential for intelligence, but it will respond to how you are prompting. Okay, so let's call this, let's give it a name that maybe like more logical for you to understand. Now I'm really making up this description, but it's an analogy, okay, so it will work. So you're talking to the screen is like whatever, I can show pixels or not show pixels, like I do what I'm instructed to do, right? So if you turn on your screen, you turn on your smartphone, you will have the lock screen with the background that you chose. On my smartphone, there's a background, like there's a photo of my kid. I chose that. So I instructed the screen to show the photo of my kid on my lock screen. See? And if I don't turn it on, it will stay turned off. So when you're turning on the screen, you're talking to that quantum potential. You need to say, okay, prompt me an answer. And then you give it an inquiry, like, if I put a formula of words, can you emanate that into reality? And the screen will say, yeah. But if you just ask it, if I ask you to, like, I don't know, crystallize a polar bear quantumly in my kitchen, and the screen does not answer, is because you didn't tell it to give you an answer. So because screen is potential, it will give you actually any answer that you are implying. If that makes sense. Like if you ask it like, hey, can you maybe manifest for me a polar bear? And the screen will say, okay, maybe, sure. So you need to activate the screen so you can ping something to it or prompt something to it and get, it's not automated like chatbot GPT that's automatically writing out a paragraph. No, you have to tell it from beginning, from scratch. First, when I prompt a question, you prompt an answer. And then screen will be like, okay, I'm infinite potential, like I do whatever you tell me to do. You see? And then you start to drive that into crystallizing realities and experiment with it, you know? And try with things that are not conflicting your current logic, right? So this would be maybe the very, 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 very great suggestion. So let's say you have in your personal behavioral patterns and memory, you have things that you are still maybe afraid of and things that you think are too big for you and you think you're too small or vulnerable to like experience this or that. And so you cannot really override, you can, from the screen you will be able to override your settings and like quantum shift how you feel, who you are, because you're just a Super Mario that is interpreted within the screen. So you can reinterpret yourself, your emotional history, your karma, whatever that is called. Right? You can feel differently and be whoever you want to be and experience whatever you want to experience. It's infinite potential, truly. But first of all, accept yourself within limitations that you have with your understanding, your logic, and your background, your story. And when you start working with the screen and learning how to code reality, do things that are just silly and funny, because in this category of things, you don't really care that much. It will not affect you personally, it will just make you laugh. Okay? So it cannot be something that you're struggling with or you believe that you're struggling with, because you're going to make it really complicated. Before I teach you how to release the struggle, how to release the resistance, how to unify yourself with your magic spell, which is going to be also by using the screen, and it's very effortless, but it's an advanced level. First, you want to have some proficient experience of coding. So just take something that you feel completely neutral about, but amused with. So you just experience love and joy, but it's not a life or death situation, or it will not change your reality drastically, right? So something that seems like very entertaining, but also like insignificant, you wouldn't bother thinking about it, analyzing or whatever. So what I like to do, I like to say, okay, I take the code and then say, let me have random people high five me and fist bump me when I'm walking in the city. And then I'm like, lol, okay, I don't mind that at all. It's like perfectly neutral to me, but it seems kind of fun. And then when I go out and I'm walking my dog and people are like, hey guy, like, what's up? And I'm like, hey, what's up, guy? So random people, they just say, hey, what's up, guy? And they high five me. So because I created that reality for myself, that's very easy now. If I want to create something where I already have been putting structure, there's a lot of choice, there's a lot of thought. You know, if you're making a business and there's like, it's like a kinetic machine that you're like already immersed with all the details, it's complicated. So do something simple so you can learn spelling, coding, and to how to write formulas and use the quantum screen, and then actually generate effects in your reality that you can just allow to appear with any like clinging or resistance. And then from that basic level of coding, we're going to go into more, what to call this? Like more complex formulas, or just see all the levels and how you can consecrate different containers, different subsets of reality, different objects, beings, if you will, and edit all of it really. Because you are this whole universe, you're Super Mario inside of the universe, and you're the screen, and you are the universe, and you can change anything within the universe. Literally, you can create new DNA types, you can create new fruit, vegetables from code, not from like organic farming and then crossbreeding and or genetic manipulation that is still physical approach to reality. No, from a quantum approach. So there's infinite application to this, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun. Now, guys, this has been my presentation, and if you're into this, I'm going to open an ongoing curriculum. So this is going to be a group container where you can come and watch more videos where I will be expanding into more and more and more and more theory, technology, and application of this quantum human magic, which is just coding the reality. And you will get to learn, play, and have fun, and experiment, and manifest whatever you want. And then also reinterpret yourself and just go and play in the world like Super Mario that you are, and just have fun and create whatever experience you want to have, or create new experiences for other players to join. Maybe in your own multiplayer arena that we will also learn how to consecrate. So I will put all the details below in this page where you're seeing this video, and if you want to join my program, welcome, let's have fun. Alright, love you.